And there she was, the most confident woman I had ever seen. Pat Allen commanded space, and her energy filled the classroom. And I was riveted. I couldn't take my eyes off her as she wandered casually and easily from the chalkboard to the podium. She would wear this massive golden medallion, and it would swing from her neck as she dropped these truth bombs left and right. Pat's unapologetic way of being, just being in her body, taking up space and not second-guessing herself, it was a profound experience. It challenged everything I'd learned about what girls and women should look like, sound like, act like. Listen, I don't mind dating myself by telling you that I'm part of the MTV generation. And I was plugged into a steady stream of writhing and grinding video vixens with a penchant for perms and fishnets. I read Tiger Beat, Teen Beat, 17, and, wait for it, Bop magazine. And all that media, it was constantly over and over, churning out stereotypical images and storylines of what I should be, what I should want, what I should expect from and for myself. It was what I would later come to find out Professor of Communications George Gerbner coined cultivation theory. Pop culture as a whole was incessantly whispering in my ear and got deep into my head. But here, in this community college classroom with Pat, my world was blown open. Absorbing every word Pat spoke, every statistic and insight she shared gave me energy, strength, and courage. Listening, truly listening, allowed me to critically examine the world I occupied as a woman and the world I occupied as a young girl when, video first killed the radio star. But before I continue sharing the field notes of my previous experiences and click moments, I need to be really, really clear. This has nothing and everything to do with me. It has everything to do with you, with us as a whole. It's about recognizing your power, our power as a collective. It's about recognizing your agency and the potential that exists within you to create a shift by rejecting those harmful scripts you've internalized, and about the possibilities that exist when you do. The dominant theme, feeling trapped by expectations. And for me, it looked like waiting around for someone to save me, wanting someone to make me feel whole, to make me feel worthy. In fact, these are thoughts I had very, very early on in elementary school. I'd practice writing my name as a Mrs. with some young dude's last name in my pink diary, the kind with the mini padlock. I'd sit and write love letters to my crush at recess and slip them in his locker. And by the time I was in middle school, having a boyfriend became the main objective in my life. Oh, and how to land the guy? I have to make myself over. I have to match up with those impossible and absurd standards of beauty, ones that at the time were primarily equated with being painfully thin. So, I learned how to have a hypervigilant focus on my food intake, managing my weight and controlling my body by whatever means necessary. That's right. Toxic diet culture was the perfect companion to the cultural script encouraging my peers and I to look outside of ourselves for validation. And it cost me a lot of time and a lot of other opportunities by gobbling up my energy and directing my focus to things I should do and be. Years and years of overlooking the power and agency I already possessed. I didn't know any better. How could I? No one had shown me the way to a fuller, more meaningful, and self-directed life. It certainly wasn't on MTV or in the pages of Bop. And unfortunately, there's nothing unique about my story. In fact, it's all too familiar. And that's why it's important and powerful. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, this doesn't apply to me because you're not a woman, you don't have a daughter, don't plan on it. let me tell you, the possibility of being more, doing more, oh, this is about all of us. When we offer new ways of seeing one another, when we offer girls and women new ways of seeing themselves, when we create new pathways of possibility from the inside out that are supported from the outside in, yeah, we all benefit. And yes, first and foremost, it benefits the girl who grows up to be a young woman who sees herself as more than those gyrating stereotypes on MTV, or, in the parlance of our times, TikTok and our filtered social media reality as a whole. So maybe, hopefully, it won't take other girls 22 years and a death-defying road trip through the desert to wake up like it did me. So buckle up, because you're about to go on a ride. In the summer of 1994, at the age of 22, everything came to a head on a road trip from LA to Las Vegas to see the Grateful Dead in concert. One in which my friend and I experienced a drive-by shooting when a bullet slammed itself into the window behind my driver's seat and lodged itself in her headrest from a car that broke down not once, but twice, and left us stuck in Baker, California in 120-degree heat, to eventually hopping on a Greyhound bus 3 days later at midnight. I can't even begin to tell you how many times people chose not to help us and how desperate I was for that help. Every moment on that life-altering road trip was filled with incredible, incredible hopelessness. And yet, as I sat on that endless bus ride home through the desert in those wee hours of the morning, something inside me broke open as the sun began to rise. I thought about those earlier versions of me with newfound empathy and compassion. Those young girls who felt scared, overwhelmed, and completely incapable of being anything more than an object to be desired, claimed, consumed. None of those earlier versions of me had ever made a conscious decision. Shoot, I didn't even know that was a thing. As the bus continued to rattle its way into LA's Union Station, I continued to have some profound realizations. Coming face to face with my mortality multiple times over the last few days made it really clear I've got no time to waste, and I'm no longer willing to wait around for anyone to love me, marry me, save me, or give me permission to live. It was the first time I was ever present in my own life, and it was electric and intellectual and embodied, knowing a conscious desire for more. It was the nascent awareness of, oh, my agency, my choice. A couple weeks later, a friend handed me a copy of the schedule of classes at the local community college. And that fall semester, I humbly and hesitantly stepped into sociology of women. And I meet Pat and that big, fat, gleaming medallion of hers. And I learn it isn't my fault. A revelation, relief. I learned that all the crushing personal shame and guilt that I had experienced for 22 years had a name. In social justice theory, it's called internalized oppression. And for me, that included sexism, misogyny, and classism. I learned that there isn't just one operating system of power at work. Using scholar Kimberly Crenshaw's term, intersectionality, Pat taught me that there are multiple overlapping expressions and experiences of power and privilege, as well as oppression. Understanding this matrix and my unique place within it, it allowed some of that weight to finally slide off my shoulders. And I don't know who needs to hear it right now. It isn't your fault. I know I always thought I had been the problem, that there was something wrong with me. Nope. I learned that those interlocking systems of domination are the problem. And along with the various ways I'd learned that I had absorbed those beliefs projected onto me by the dominant culture, the way those beliefs have been incorporated into my self-concept through the socialization process, I also learned that my experience includes aspects of privilege and responsibility. Because here's the thing, the details of my story may resonate with some of you, and not so much for others. But the possibility of a paradigm shift, personally and collectively, yeah, that's what we all share and can actively choose to create. It isn't my fault. And slowly new ideas whisper in my ear and plant seeds deep in my head. I have choices. I have the possibility of making conscious decisions with deliberateness and great care. I'd never known this was possible until this moment. And I am now equally awakened and enraged, as well as empowered and ignited. Why? Why did it take 22 years to know this? To become unburdened by this? To learn the names and contributions of brave, powerful, audacious women challenging these systems over the centuries? Women like Maria Stewart, Bell Hooks, Audre Lorde, Jeannie Cordova, Rita Mae Brown, Eileen Hernandez, Gloria Steinem, Ida B. Wells, Paula Gunn Allen, Adrienne Rich, Patricia Hill Collins, and if you don't know them, look them up. And so many more. How their choices expanded my possibilities. That road trip to see the Grateful Dead in Vegas, that epiphany on the Greyhound bus, the girls and women through history that had offered me the possibility of a seat in a college classroom with a professor like Pat, all of this emboldened me. All of this taught me, Pat taught me, I can make an impact. You can too. And I knew with absolute certainty that I wanted to be a link in that chain of empowerment and possibility. Like a lightning bolt, a thunderclap, the most resounding, clearest moment of my life. I want more of this. And I'm not talking about enabling masked as empowerment or putting anyone on a pedestal and trying to become them. I'm definitely not talking about reckless individualism. I'm talking about authentic empowerment that is about individual sovereignty as well as solidarity. Through conscious awareness, our choices are truly empowered. Not just the what and why of our choices, but how our choices impact others. I'm here to present the possibility of making conscious and independent choices on our timeline, but choices that don't disregard or ignore our place in the collective experience. The truth is, those grinding video vixens, they were never the problem. And today's equivalent isn't solely the problem either. The problem was that I never felt I had a choice to do anything but follow that carefully curated narrative. There was no encouragement or support, let alone awareness, that there were other options available. Maybe you want to start a business, continue with higher learning. Maybe you want to dive deep into your creativity in the arts. Maybe you want to get married or not. Are you going to have children now, later, never? Shoot, you can go wear the fishnets, wear them with the gold medallion. Maybe it's all of the above or none. I think you all get the point. Whatever it is, it's your choice. And remember, we always have our own permission to change our minds at any time, and as many times as we want. That's brave. That is powerful. Damn, that is straight audacious. So take a moment, right here, right now, and connect with your breath so you can get still and listen, truly listen, in order to absorb this potent reminder and call to action. You too have agency and can make an impact. Starts right here in the power and possibility of this moment. Who will you become? What will you offer? And finally, how will your newfound conscious choices expand the possibilities for others? Thank you.